Good evening, my name is Zelda May Bas. I'm a student fellow at the Arendt Center, and I'm here with Professor Uday Mehta after our Courage to Be dinner lecture, and on the topic of courage and how courage relates to Gandhi. So we have a few questions for you, and the first one would be, how would you define courage in one sentence?
I'm honestly not sure I can define it in one sentence because it seems to me the thing that's important about courage is what it relates to. And what I'm suggesting in my lecture is that for Gandhi, what courage relates to is a kind of transcendent inquiry by myself. So I don't think there is a kind of one sentence answer in the case of Gandhi to say, well, courage involves this. Though if you absolutely insisted, I would say courage involves being prepared to risk one's life for a particular cause.
Gandhi calls for civil disobedience, which is something that Hannah Arendt writes about at length, and I'm wondering if her idea of civil disobedience fits Gandhi's, and if they're different, how are they different?
I think they are very different. My understanding of Gandhi, civil disobedience for Gandhi was ultimately, whatever else it was also tied to a certain kind of spiritual quest. And as a general matter, Hannah Arendt is wary or suspicious of these kinds of spiritual quests. I think Hannah Arendt is invested in a certain kind of notion of crafting a public self. And I think she's quite explicitly, in fact when she writes about Gandhi, she's a bit disparaging about this kind of spiritual aspect.
Because the spiritual is something that is more personal as opposed to her public sphere persona. For Gandhi, civility was a mode of individual comportment, you said? And how is this vision of civility linked to courage for Gandhi?
Well, I think civility is that mode of individual comportment which is in the midst of everyday life, where in the midst of everyday life one has the courage to ask questions such as, what am I prepared to live for? What am I prepared to die for? The point is that spiritual, that question of the absolute. Gandhi wants that question, as it were, interrogated in the midst of everyday life, not in some distant monastery. That's the civil component.
You've also written about Edmund Burke and his humility in the face of the empire. Can you reflect on the connection between his humility and Gandhi's courage, or maybe his humility too in the face of the British Empire?
I think the connection between Burke and Gandhi is a deep one, and as I see it, the connection is the following: that I think Burke sees the empire as being a project of power in which what is lost is the possibility of self-realization. He thinks people are in the empire living false lives. They're pretending to be something they are not. They're living vicariously. And so I think for Burke and for Gandhi, one of the things that's wrong with the empire is that it undermines the conditions of self-knowledge.
And what would you say is the prominence of courage for democracy? Just touched a bit upon it in your lecture, but say a little bit more.
Well, two things. Let me just say two things. One, as a general matter, democratic theory doesn't put any prominence. There's no special value attached to courage. So I don't think there is a major democratic theorist who features the importance of courage. On the other hand, I'm just trying to suggest in my lecture that in Gandhi's conception of courage and fearlessness, there is a democratic sensibility because everybody is capable of it at some level. You don't have to be rich, you don't have to be white, you don't have to be black, you don't have to be a man, you don't have to be... It is something attached to our humanity. So in that sense, I think for Gandhi, there is something deeply democratic in the emphasis he places.
On a more personal note, what is your personal experience with courage? Whether it's yours directly or through someone else, but how have you been exposed to courage in your life? Or acted courageously?
Well, the honest truth is, I don't think I've been tested at that level. I don't think I've ever done anything especially courageous. But it is a quality that I deeply admire because I think it is also a quality that is linked to many other qualities. I think, for instance, being truthful involves courage. I can think of so many instances where people are untruthful, not because they want, not because they're invested in untruth, just because they don't have the courage for truth.
And as you talked about, especially in the first part of your lecture, Gandhi drew up a meticulous and very strict set of terms for the Satyagraha pledge. And I was wondering, doesn't the idea of setting all these conditions for courageousness kind of go against maybe the overarching or common thought that courage has to do with spontaneity a lot of the time?
I don't think courage involves spontaneity. Maybe one can be trained that way, but I think for Gandhi, courage is something very deliberate. And there is a real link with Gandhi.
We talked a lot about in our classes we're torn between courage being something that is extremely rational and thought through and relates more to Gandhi, or at the same time being in a situation where we read a lot of accounts or stories where it was just what I had to do. It was a coming from yourself, some sort of emotion, which the spontaneity there relates to it.
I mean, I think that spontaneity, it may be spontaneity. On the other hand, it may also be something which is the product of a certain kind of self-fortification. So in the end, it looks spontaneous.
There's some unconscious self-reliance.
But there is a kind of, it is perhaps the product of deep practice.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.